Coronavirus, or better known as COVID-19, is a disease that has been affecting our world in a major way. Starting in January, the coronavirus disease has evolved from an isolated disease in a region of China to a global pandemic that has brought countries to a standstill. It has pushed hospital systems to the brink and dragged the global economy into a recession. The first trace of the coronavirus was in Wuhan, China on January 9th. The first case was confirmed by the CDC in Washington on January 21st. By the beginning of February, air travel was restricted, and by February 3rd, the U.S. declared the U.S. a public health emergency. As time continued, more and more cases were confirmed and proved to be contagious through human contact. Social distancing was enforced in many facilities. There were also many precautions put in place to avoid human contact. As cases grew, the CDC and other companies began using contact tracing as a form of helping people be aware of who they come in contact and what places to avoid. Contact tracing is a process of identifying, notifying, and monitoring anyone who came in close contact with an individual who tested positive for COVID-19 while they are infectious. Contact tracing usually involves connecting contacts with services they might need during the self-quarantine period. There have been many apps developed in Canada, South Korea, China, and other international countries, including the US, that have the ability to trace who has come in contact with other infected people.
Here's where the problem with contact tracing comes along. In order for the app to fulfill its purpose, users are obligated to allow location use, even when they're not using the app. The apps send messages to the user when they first download the app, which prompts the message, "Allow app to use location" in the background. While it is necessary for you to accept, doing so means that the app is using your location 24/7. While contact tracing is the most innovative solution we have brought up to halt and stop the spread of the virus, it puts our privacy at risk. Most of us don't really understand the exact details of what data will be collected, what it will be used for, or who will have access to it. The problem with not trusting these apps is that if not enough people use it, the effectiveness of the app diminishes greatly. Many countries have implemented and mandated these apps successfully, including China and Saudi Arabia. But with these countries, their government holds a lot of power over its citizens and is not entirely democratic. Therefore, mandating the use of contact tracing apps can be troublesome and difficult to mandate in Western countries and specifically in the United States. Without a doubt, contact tracing apps have proven to be effective in some countries, but in some, there's a debate on whether or not they will actually succeed. So the question up for debate is, should we sacrifice our personal privacy for the good of public health? Do we trust the government with our personal data? Is the epidemic too important to the point that we need to put our concerns of privacy aside?
Principles here that the European Commission has put forward and recommended to all the member states are sensible. That is that the GDPR should be adhered to, that the data collection shouldn't be more than is strictly needed, and that it shouldn't go on longer than is needed. Longer than is needed is, of course, a possible concern. In no case in the past have we produced a vaccine.
As we can observe with the current coronavirus situation, hardship can breed innovation. Many of the side effects of crises, which involve significant human and financial toll, although devastating, are ingredients to disruption. Situations like these allow the best minds all over the world to utilize whatever resources possible to collaborate and provide solutions to the looming threat present. However, complications are not absent when discussing innovations that affect individual privacy. Events like the Cambridge Analytica and Facebook scandal provide grounds for stronger arguments on stronger data privacy laws. On the flip side, an esteemed think tank, the ITIF, concludes that overly strict rules for digital economy can actually hinder innovation by ultimately affecting the supply and demand for digital services. With no vaccine in sight, we seem to be out of options on how to deal with the situation. As of now, contact tracing remains a promising way to stop the spread and flatten the curve. Arthur Kaplan, a medical ethics professor at NYU Langone Medical Center, says, "In a plague, civil liberties have to be suspended. There are good reasons for that. There is truth in his words, and it might be wise to accept them. The only major worry is what comes after when all is said and done. Will our individual privacy still be protected, or will we have passed the point of no return?"